What's up? I'm Ben, and this is Ready Setting. Today we went to a league night and we played our Blurple deck. It's got blue and it's got purple. It's the Blurple. We went 3-0, so we were undefeated with this deck, which is a great deal because we get a pack per win at our league. And they're doing the new thing where they give out promos every week. So we got 3 prize packs for our wins, and these were them. And then our big hit, we got one of the Scrooge McDucks. This is like a $20 card that we were super excited about. This is a new promo card, the Snow White. And I didn't notice before, no one showed me this. It's got a little owl foil right there. I don't know how good you can see it on this here shadowy iPhone, but there it is. And we pulled another bell, which we needed to put in this deck because we're only running 3 bells. We should be running the 4th bell, but super happy we got the Scrooge in our prize packs. So we played 3 rounds at League. So I was able to go 3-0. My first match was up against David, and he played a Jafar wheel deck with the sauce. He had the new legendary Mickey Mouse that if he banishes one of your characters, then he gets to play any character in his hand for freezies. And he was able to do that twice to cheat out the 7-cost Jafar. And then, like, I didn't even see it coming. I had a bell on board, and then he used Baboom to do 2 damage to it, and then his Mickey was able to do the other 1 damage to take it out. So that's pretty cool, but we were able to sneak the wins out because he didn't ever draw the whole new world. So it came down to our opponent not top decking as best as he could. So let's check out this list. We're going to start off with the Bell Accomplice Mystic. I really like this one. Later in the day, I played a Funzy round with my friend Jeremy, Ruler School TCG, and he had 2 Oswalds on board. And Bell, if you didn't know, it says when you play this character, you may move up to 3 damage from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So with this Bell, he had 2 Oswalds on board, and I was able to move a damage that he had previously had on a character to one of his Oswalds, and then I was able to take out his Oswald that way. But his Oswald got some major value. But Bell, super good. This was also one of my answers to Maui Half Shark, because Maui Half Shark already had some damage on it. Then I was able to move some damage from my character over to the Maui Half Shark to take it out. So Bell Accomplished Mystic actually did some work, and it's only a 2 of in this deck. That means that we have 2 copies of it. There it is. And then we got 3 copies of the Bell. This one is called the Apprentice Inventor. And this one, if you didn't know, you'll probably know that if you're watching this video, but you can play Bell for freezies if you banish an item. So we got 4 items. It's Popsicle, one of the best items, the best 1 cost card in probably all of Sapphire. You play this down on 1, and then you can play a Bell, and then you can shift it as early as turn 3. It has the shift 3, so lots of times you're going to be able to use your ink to play the Bell for free. And then you have a big body on board. This is kind of like one of your best turn 1s is to play a Popsicle, banish it, and then play down Bell for free. So 4 Popsicles, that's literally all of our items that we're playing. For this whole deck, we got 1 of Cusco. I kind of really like the Cusco. Cusco was able to get rid of a McDuck Manor for me. I hate dealing with the McDuck Manors, and Cusco is here to take those away because it says when you play this character, you can put chosen item or location into his player's inkwell face down and exerted. It's almost like this other blue card that we play that we're going to talk about, which we absolutely love. So Cusco, super good, and it can quest for 2. We got 4 Tipos. Tipos lets you ink any card, but the caveat is that you can't use that ink this turn. But with Sail the Azurite Sea, you sure can use that ink that turn because it goes in your inkwell face down, and you can still, it's ready. It's not exerted yet. But we only run 3 of the Sail the Azurite Seas because the list that I found on Inkdex was running 3. And I was like, if they know what they're doing, they know what they're doing. I'm in no way a Blurple player. But here we are playing Blurple. We got 3 of the Hades. Always love to see a Hades top deck. The amount of times where I top deck this and then I get to live to fight another day is in the 10s. This is a legendary from the first chapter, and I'm glad to have them because they do some work. I've been using Hades now for like 3 weeks in a row. I used them in a ramp deck, and I used them in a Hey deck, the Sapphire Steel one. I used them in this deck before. Yeah, always like using the Hades. We got the Magic Brooms. I thought that Diablo might be a little bit of a better play, you know. This Diablo, that's a 0/1, where if it's banished, you get to draw a card. I ended up not using any Diablos. We went with the 2 Magic Brooms and the 4 Chain Box Followers. Chain Box Followers, whenever this character quests, you can banish it and draw a card. And if you have it at library, you get to draw 2 cards, because if it's banished while at library, you draw a card for that, and you draw a card for the Chain Box quest. We got 3 Madam Mim snakes, actually super useful. The amount of times that I use Madam Mim snake to put Hades back into my hand to use him in the next turn. I did that a couple times. And then also the amount of times where I snaked a Tipo back to my hand and then played Tipo. Like I do that on turn 4 and then I'd be able to ramp a whole bunch. Or like one of my favorite turn 4s is to play a Sail That As Sea and a Tipo and then ramp to that turn. I think it's super good. I had a really good time doing that. We got 4 Madam Mim foxes. I ink these too frivolously, I think is the word. Like, my opponent played 2 McDuck Manors, D did, and if I would have kept my foxes instead of trading them into stuff, then I would have been able to take out the McDuck Manors much faster. But, Avi, we got 4 Merlin rabbits. You get to draw a card when you play them, and then you get to draw a card when you leave. So if you bounce it back with anything, you get to draw a card. We got our on-play lore effects. We got Merlin Goat. So when you play him, you'll win the game. I won one game because I played 3 Merlin Goats in one turn. I had that much ink. I had 12 ink, and I put 3 Merlin Goats on turn. I knew my opponent probably had to be prepared, but if he'd be prepared, I would have won the game because I would have gotten 3 lore when the goats leave play. Then we also got this one. That is another on-play lore effect. Love to see it. We got the Merlin Crabs. The amount of times that I missequence my Merlin Crabs. Like, if you play Merlin Crab and Elsa, you're able to take out a Maui Half Shark because Maui Half Shark has 5 willpower. So, like, you kind of got to keep your wombo combos ready to go. But I would, like, maybe I'd ink Merlin or I'd put him out on board early. I definitely learned a whole lot this week about, like, what card's coming up. I want to need to be able to take it out. I want to save my crabs. So we only run 2 crabs. The list I saw online ran 3 crabs, but I didn't want to be bothered to go in my bulk box and find my other crab, if you know what I'm saying. And then 4 Elsas. 4 Elsa, the 5th spirit, has rush, evasive, and when it comes into play, it gets to exert chosen character. The amount of times where I was able to take out a Diablo was 1. My opponent, Rick, played a Diablo. He was on that Amber Emerald Under the Sea. And we were able to just have 2 in our hand and make him scared to play his Diablo, I guess. But if they put Diablo at Hidden Cove, then like Elsa's not going to be able to take it out. And then check this out. This is another first chapter legendary. It's Elsa, the Spirit of Winter. You might have seen her. She's got the shift 6, so don't be shy to, even though this cost 5, to pay another 6 on top of it. And now you have an 11 cost character. But its ability so good. You tap down 2 characters and then they can't ready at the start of your turn. So maybe you don't need to remove them. Maybe you just need to stop them from readying up next turn. That's going to be okay. The craziest play that I made with this was against David, but he had 2 Jafar Striking Illusionist on board. These cards right here. So Jafar Striking Illusionist says during your turn, while this character is exerted, whenever you draw a card, gain 1 more. He had 2 of these. And if I would have exerted them with Elsa and he drew for turn, he would have gained 2 lore. So I made sure not to do that. I exerted a Calhoun and something else that he had. It was another big thing that like took me out. Was it a crab? It was something. I exerted those 2, even though they were already exerted, and then I took them out anyways. But the Jafar didn't get to stay exerted. I also use this to be able to shift on this Elsa and take out a McDuck Manor. There was lots of McDucks that I had to deal with today, but it does 4 damage instead of the 2 damage, and that's absolutely huge. So 2 copies of Elsa, the Spirit of Winter. You might know this card from being the crazy chase card, the crazy like $800 enchanted. This is the regular version that isn't $800. It's actually pretty reasonably priced, and we like it, and it's pretty good, especially in Blurple. People definitely play it a lot in Blurple. We got 2 genies, mostly because we only got 2 genies. We ain't got 4 genies. If we had 4 genies, we'd probably play 4 genies, but we got 2 genies. He can quest for 2, and then you can do the same things. Like he can take out Maui Half Shark if you give him the +3 challenger with crab. So like he's another good thing to be able to take out evasives. Libraries, we're running 3 of those. Friends on the other side, we're running 3, and then 1 Japanese one. Pretty good. Love to see it. The library, underrated. I've gotten a lot of lore today off of just library. Probably 5 or 6 lore, but that's all you need, huh? 4 friends on the other side. I sang this with a goat one time. My opponent was like, gosh, I got to make you be able to not draw any cards. So he got rid of my chair in a box followers. And then the next turn, I just sang friends on the other side with my goat. And I thought that was so funny. And then the one spicy tech card that we put in here that actually came up quite a bit. You can ink it or you can use it to get rid of your opponent's Calhoun. That's what I did with this card. I also used this against a red-blue deck today, and I put back Sapphire Coil into their hand, but that was kind of a mistake because they were able to ink it the next turn. Sapphire Coil is an inkable card. That one right there, 2-cost inkable, and you're able to befuddle it back to hand. So that's what I did with it. So that's our deck. We were super happy to play it. It was pretty good. I can show you a couple of hands and see what we think about those. This next weekend, I'm going to another Arcasia's Island Sealed. So hit the subscribe button if you want to see me talk about a sealed event. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. We're trying to get to 1 million subscribers. So I'll shuffle a little bit and I'll show you a beginning hand. They say that 7 shuffles is the most amount of randomizing that a deck could ever be. Do you believe it? I think so. I think this is called a mash shuffle. And then this one's an overhand shuffle. I don't know about that. So anyway, 7 cards. Boom. 4, 3. That's 7. We look at our hand. We're looking for a popsicle. We're also looking for a turn 1. So what I'd probably keep, if I know I'm going up against a green deck that has an Ursula, I'm probably going to keep a Friends on the other side just so I ink it so it's out of my hand because I don't want Ursula taking that away. So I'm going to actually do 4 here. You put those to the bottom and then you draw your next 4. And we get some all right stuff. Not the best. If we're playing against a green, I'd probably ink my Friends on the other side first. I'm not really seeing too many things to sing Friends on the other side. Like I could sing with Madam and Fox and I could sing with that, but I'm not going to get there fast enough. Like I'm looking for my T-pos. Look at all these purple cards, literally all purple cards. Amethyst it's called. So I'll probably ink the Friends on the other side. And then what I normally do is put down the Chernobog's followers to like put a threat on board that they are going to have to deal with something that attacks for 2. But since like if I'm going first, I'd kind of rather play the Magic Broom. At this point, just a weird idea, if you know what I'm saying. So at this point in the game, I'm kind of looking at maybe next turn, I put down 2 2-drops, 2 1-drops, and then ink one of these cards over here. So I'll show you that. We'll draw a card. Ooh, we get a crab. And this is what I'm talking about. At this point in the game, I'm like, ugh, I should probably save these for a Wombo combo. But I'm like, ugh, I want to do other stuff. So maybe we quest that for 1, and then we put down a Chernobog and sack it to see if we can get a different card to ink. We get Friends on the other side. Which would that be valuable to me? Yeah. Why are all these purple cards? Because there's not a whole lot of blue cards in here. Who shuffled this deck? We probably ink that and play a Chernobog for that other one. And then we pass the turn and draw. Maybe this one's gone because they had some removal. Who knows? Probably ink that goat quest, probably pop it and draw a card. It's that doesn't help us out. And then I'd be up a creek because I should have kept the Chernobog on the field to be able to bounce it with the Madam and Fox next turn. Still all purple cards. Who shuffled this deck? So I'll tell you right there, that mistake would have cost me the game for sure. So we're going to give it another quick little shuffle and see what else we can do. Now I'm kind of in the boat that I should mulligan everything, trying to get a T-po or a sale, if you know what I'm saying. So we'll take our first 4. Boom, there's T-po. And then we'll take our next 3. There is the popsicle. Lovely. What do we want to get rid of in this hand? I think we get rid of the genie. I think he's being a little bit of a distraction. We put him to the bottom of the deck, and then we draw our 1 mulligan. It's a terrible card, but we are going to ink it with T-po for sure. So with our start this turn, we are going to go with a popsicle into the T-po. And then we might do a different thing. So like we have 2 different lines here. If they play the Calhoun, if like we're going second or something, then we can befuddle and Chernobog on turn 2, or we can just T-po and ramp our Elsa. So there's like a few different lines, and then maybe we get a different ink. So what if we are going second? We get to draw a card. Boom, sail the Azurite Sea, maybe even a little bit better here. So I'd probably get rid of the Cusco at this point. And then the 1-drop that we want to put down is definitely that popsicle, exerting 1 ink to draw a card. We get an Elsa 5th Spirit. If I'm playing against a deck that I know has an evasive character or something that I need to tap down, I might keep it because I'm going to be able to get there faster with T-po and sail the Azurite Sea. Our next turn, we get to draw a card. Friends on the side, I want to have enough card draw anyway, but they didn't play down a 1-drop, so I'm going to get rid of the befuddle. I'm going to do sail the Azurite Sea because I have a 1-drop to play. So normally I would like play T-po if I didn't have a 1-drop to play, but sail the Azurite Sea is going to let me draw a card. Then it's going to let me ink an additional card. I have to show my opponent. And then for 1 more ink, then I can play down Chernobog's followers. Now I've spent a whole lot of ink and I have a whole lot of stuff on board. Next turn, we can draw a card. And then I might want to ramp here. I'd probably use this as a T-po moment. Probably get my 1 if they didn't have any characters on board. I would keep Chernobog and not pop them, but if they do have a character on board, either I challenge into it or I pop them and draw a card. Another friend's on the other side who shuffled this deck, we'd ink that. For 2, we'd play our Tipo, looking like we're going to get rid of our big Elsa at this point. It goes face down and exerted. And then for 1, we play our Magic Broom. Probably missequence that, but that's okay. Next turn, boom, go. But we'd probably have to go with the Elsa, maybe quest this first, draw a card with it, get an Elsa Never Punished, take something out, and then we're just off to the races, you know? At this point, we're at 5 ink. That's almost where all the fun comes in, but what if we top deck a Hades? So we need to keep our ink up and not our funny up. Maybe we get to sing with that the next turn and draw 2 cards. Tipo probably gone at this point. We get a Tipo, and that's what we need to do to be able to ramp up. So we'd probably ink that. For 2, we'd play a Tipo, ink an additional card, probably going to be the Madam M Fox. And then for 4, we'd play a Rabbit because we need to keep our draws up. And then we get the Hades, and then check that out. Next turn, 7 ink to remove stuff with Hades. So that's what we got going on. That's kind of how I play the Blurples, a little look into my mind of what's going on after playing like 9 games with this today at League. Again, thanks for watching. We put out new videos all the time here at Ready Set Ink. Please smash the subscribe button.